And what we're going to focus about in this interview is that she's one of the pioneers. In fact, she helped build the NHS. So Matilda, can you tell us about your nursing experience having arrived in England from the Gold Coast?
When we arrived, as I said, I went to the hotel with Sir Emmanuel and Lady Quiz. And I was there when somebody came from the British Council to come and escort me to a place that had been prepared for me. And we went from the hotel where they were staying to Collingham Gardens. And apparently it's a place for students. And I met a few Caribbean girls there. And sometime after, maybe a week, 2 weeks after, the British Council came again. They said they had found a hospital for me where I could train. And they took me to a place called Barnet. And it was sort of outside town. It's a small hospital. And it didn't have its own training school. So every morning, those of us who are training there will be taken by bus to go to a bigger place where the training took place. But we decided we didn't like it. We would like another place. So we made our own arrangements. We made inquiries. And we found Central Middlesex Hospital, which was then called Park Royal Hospital. And we sent applications and we were taken. So we moved there, and that's when I started my training. And this was in 47, like I said.
So that's before the NHS even started?
Yes.
Wow. So you really were one of the pioneers before the health service started. Can you tell us a little bit about the living conditions and how staff and nurses were kept apart? Did you say, I think I've heard before, that how they were kept apart from the male doctors and the male nurses?
The training actually lasts 3 years and 3 months.
Wow.
3 months they used to look at you to assess whether you can really do nursing. So when the 3 months had passed, then some of the girls left, because we met a few people when we came to Central Middlesex, or Park Royal Hospital, as it was called then. And so we started the training properly. And the training lasted 3 years. And at the end of the 3 years, we took the state registered nurses examination. That's for the whole country. And we passed. And usually, when you have passed and you become a nurse, they call you staff nurse, which means you are in charge of, you are a staff. Not a one training, but you are a staff. And they call you staff nurses. And they give you a blue belt, which you put on, you know. But our time, there were a few colored people besides me. And instead of calling us staff nurses, they called us charge nurses.
That's an utter disgrace, really.
This is what they did, because as I said, the color bar was really in situation, you know. They try to make differences between the colored people.
Remarkable,
themselves.
remarkable.
Yes, that's right. So this is what happened.
But the NHS, which started in July 1948, must have been an exciting time. Was there incredible support for the NHS in 1948 like there is today? For instance, were the doctors very happy about this?
The doctors were not very happy. So in fact, they allowed them to have some of their patients in the hospital. And each ward has what we call side wards, one bed in each room, you know, and they're allowed to have the patients. And I remember one occasion when one of these patients was going to the theater for operation, and it was my duty to prepare the person for theater. But because he was, I suppose, a private patient, and because of the color bar, he didn't want a black nurse to prepare him. So he said he didn't want me to touch him. And so I told the sister in charge. And so the sister in charge went and told him that if he didn't allow me, nobody can do it. He would send this patient to the theater so that the surgeon himself could prepare him. And he agreed. So the sister went back to the ward, took the telephone, and ran the theater.
This is incredible.
Talked to the surgeon that Mr. So-and-so, your patient would not allow my nurse to prepare him. So I'm sending him to the theater unprepared, and you will have to do the preparation yourself.
Wow.
And the patient went, and the surgeon did it. And he came back to the hospital.
Incredible. Absolutely incredible story. Thank you so much for sharing that with us.